Wall Street Journal reporting that the kingdom rejected a request to delay oil production cuts just days ahead of the OPEC decision to do just that, cut production. And of course, after President Biden's now infamous fist bump with the MBS. Wyoming Senator John Barrasso is chairman of the Senate Republican Conference and ranking member of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, joins us now. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. So I don't know, is this a president that's showing that he means business when it comes to bringing down oil and gas prices in this country, Senator?
No, this is all about affordable energy. That's what the American people are concerned about. And I've been traveling all around the state of Wyoming and continuing to run into people who are who are living with this nightmare of having to choose gas they can't afford, groceries they can't afford, heating their homes, which they can't afford. Gas is $1.50 a gallon more today than it was the day that Joe Biden came into office. But when you take a look at this radical climate agenda that Joe Biden and every Democrat is for, if they're allowed to continue and control in Washington, we're all going to be left cold, in the dark, and hungry. So people are suffering. They're falling further and further behind in this Joe Biden economy. And what we just need to do is to make sure come Election Day, we get the Republicans in the House and the Republicans in the Senate. If we want energy that is affordable, available, and reliable, the Democrats are against that. They like to see the price of energy up, forces more people to electric vehicles.
Okay, so that was the president earlier this morning vowing consequences on Saudi Arabia. But I want to play this of President Biden in a brand new interview. It aired yesterday, also promising consequences. Listen.
There's going to be some consequences for what they've done with Russia.
What kind of consequences? Menendez says suspend all arms sales. Is that something you'd consider?
I'm not going to get into what I'd consider and what I have in mind, but there will be consequences.
Okay, so that's the president. I don't know. We'll see. He's got members of his own party, Dick Durbin, saying the Saudis can't be trusted. He says, I would just advise the president if he asked that we've all learned a lesson from Saudi Arabia in the last week or so, that they cannot be trusted. He tried his best to reach out to him, and it didn't work, said Dick Durbin. And I think he's having second thoughts about a relationship, and I certainly am too. I think bottom line, the question is, why are we turning to Saudi Arabia in this capacity when we have so many of our own resources right here at home?
You are 100% right. It's not Saudi Arabia that's sent right. It's not Saudi Arabia that's holding a gun to our head, or OPEC a gun to the head of the American people when it comes to energy. We can never expect OPEC to provide us energy that is affordable, available, or reliable. We have it here in the ground. Sandra, today we're producing 2 million barrels a day, less than we should be, and it's because the Democrat policies, which are not allowing us to explore for that energy, not allowing us to use the infrastructure. And when OPEC came up with their decision, and the White House was so panicked, as you said, it wasn't because they were going to cut, it's because they were going to do it now and the elections are coming. They didn't say don't cut, they said, hey, wait a month to make the decision, because they knew it was going to drive up prices. And this group OPEC Plus, the plus is Russia, and call the plays. The president was once again, no surprise to your viewers, caught flat-footed.
You know, and Ro Khanna, the Democrat from California, was on with us earlier on this program, and we thank him for coming on. But it's hard to see the constant blame everywhere but the White House policies that are driving these energy prices higher. In fact, I wrote it down as he said it because he placed blame on Saudi Arabia, the Federal Reserve, and Vladimir Putin, but not the current White House policies. Let's listen to Ro Khanna.
First, I blame the Saudis. I mean, they are totally outrageous and ungrateful in cutting production. I do blame the Fed. They were buying back corporate bonds and mortgages for way too long. And I blame Putin's war, which has aggravated supply chains, and of course the pandemic, which did that.
So I guess my question is, if we have an administration that can't acknowledge what got us here, how can we expect them to fix it?
Well, you're right. The Democrats have ignored the fundamental truth that we are better and stronger as a nation if we are selling our energy to our friends than having to buy it from our enemies. But that's the position the Democrats have put us in by basically taking us from energy dominance that we were before Joe Biden came into office to energy dependence today. And American families are suffering when they go to the gas station and try to pay for gas. And I think the prices are going to continue to go up all the way through elections. And you're right, we need to be using American energy. We have it here. We have the know-how to how to get it, how to use it. That will bring down the prices for us here at home and make others around the world less dependent upon the bad guys, which is where we are now.
All right, we'll keep covering it. Senator, thank you very much for joining us on that.
Thanks, Sandra.
Mike.
Sandra, Vladimir Putin dramatically intensifying the fight in Ukraine with this week's brutal attacks. Now analysts are worried about how far Putin might go. Let's bring in retired Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, former National Security Advisor to Vice President Pence and a Fox News contributor. General, welcome.
Mike, thanks for having me.
So let's start with the map. I want to show our audience some of the places where Ukrainian forces have made their counteroffensives. That's the blue areas there. The red areas are being where the Russians have emphasized a lot of the fighting so far in the war. Your thoughts on what we're seeing in terms of Ukrainians fighting back?
Yeah, I think the big area you need to look at it, because I think it's the most important area, is to the south near Kherson. I know they're up in the north looking at Kharkiv and that area, but the reason why the fight in Kherson is so important, that's where Putin has put a lot of his forces, is because if they keep advancing and they cut that line into Crimea, then they've got an existential threat, because if he can cut off Crimea and the Kerch Bridge, which in fact gives them resupply routes, then I think Putin's looking at something that it's the loss of the Russian army. In a way, I'm happy that they're doing this and why the Ukrainians are pushing so hard and why we need to give them that support. Because I think if he does that, it gets us closer to an end state. And, you know, right now, everybody's just kind of drifting. There's a little bit of action here. They hit the cities, a little bit of offensive here. I have heard no one talk about how do we end this thing? Where is the end state?
Great point.
And every day you go further along, you get concerned about miscalculation. And that's when they talk about the nuclear weapons or something similar to that, or attack on NATO. That is all because of miscalculations. It would make a huge mistake. Let's get away from the miscalculation. You know, I would rather have statecraft than stupidity. And I think right now we're almost into stupidity of just let the fight go on, keep attacking. No, let's figure a way to how to get out of this thing.
Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, somebody you know well, basically saying, give the Ukrainians everything, let's play it.
Okay?
We have to continue to provide the Ukrainian people the tools that they need. And when we do, whether it's others around Putin inside of Russia, Ukrainian victory, you have to stay at you have to stay at this. American resolve will matter. And that demonstrated resolve, the willingness to continue to do this and save lives.
Yeah.
Do you think it's been a mistake not sending everything they need sooner?
It's a huge mistake. Mike, we should have been giving in this stuff, the equipment, well over 200 days ago. You know, like right now they're talking about providing them now the National Advanced Surface-to-Air Missile Systems called NASAMS, which is a short to medium range system. It's got a slant range of 30 kilometers. You've got radar 100 kilometers. It's a great little system out there. Oh, we're going to provide it to them now. Why didn't we provide it to them earlier to protect their cities or key infrastructure? And we always seem to be a step late on getting them. Why are we only giving them 18 HIMARS? We have triple and quadruple that in the inventory. Give it to them all up front. Let them prosecute the fight. Because what I said earlier, Mike, and I really believe it, if we put Putin in a position that he's going to have to either negotiate or fail, I think he might want to negotiate, because a failure means he's gone as well.
Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg, thank you for your service and thank you for your analysis today.
Thanks, Mike.
Sandra?
President Biden defending his record despite poor polling and some Democrats distancing themselves from him. So what does that mean for the November elections and beyond?
With prices going up and up, it's more important than ever to have extra cash in the bank. And for veteran homeowners, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, call New Day. 2, talk to our team to see how much cash you can get. 3, borrow up to $100.
Hi, I'm attorney Don McCarry, a proud veteran who's been helping Marines and their families for decades. By now, I'm sure you've heard the news about Camp Lejeune and the new law which allows victims to file for compensation. This is different than your veteran's disability claim. There's a lot of confusing information out there, so I put together a dedicated team to answer your questions and to take your calls.
Call 800-800-2088. That's 800-800-2088. Call right now.
Choosing Miracle Ear was a great decision. Like when I decided to host family movie nights. Miracle Ear made it easy. I just booked an appointment, and a certified hearing care professional evaluated my hearing loss and helped me find the right device calibrated to my unique hearing needs. Now I enjoy every moment. The quiet ones and the loud ones.
Make a sound decision. Call 1-800-MIRACLE now and book your free hearing evaluation.
Luxury exemplified. Innovation.
The inflation buzzword, as if inflation magically goes away and then suddenly returns. But inflation never really goes away. Each year, by some measure, the dollar, well, here's something else that doesn't go away. Gold and silver.
Roslyn Capital, a trusted leader in acquired precious metals. Gold bullion, Lady Liberty gold and silver proofs, and our premium coins can help you preserve your wealth. Call Roslyn Capital at 800-630-8900 to receive your free Roslyn Guide to Gold, Gold and Precious Metals IRA, and silver brochures. With Roslyn, there are no hassles, no gimmicks, and our shipping is fast and reliable.
Help protect yourself against inflation. Make gold your new standard.
Call Roslyn Capital today at 800-630-8900. That's 800-630-8900.
Tonight on the Ingram Angle, John Fetterman required closed captioning just to conduct an interview. See if his opponent, Dr. Oz, needs one tonight at 10 p.m.
We heard you, Western New York. You want a Medicare that gives you even better benefits while keeping more money in your pocket. So at Univera Healthcare, we added options like a new PPO plan with access to doctors locally and coverage when you travel. It comes with a $500 flex card to help cover dental, vision, and hearing costs. It's our way of making great Medicare coverage more accessible and call an expert like me right here in Western New York to get started.
With the high cost of gas and groceries, we believe you shouldn't have to hold on to an old, inefficient furnace because it costs. Experience an improved home comfort this winter with Isaac, the easy choice to save on a new furnace and your energy bills. Get a Ream furnace installed this fall for payments as low as $69 a month. Isaac is the easy choice for home comfort. Visit IsaacHeating.com today.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I was trying to take on the IRS by myself. They gave me no option there. They would speak in tax terms, which I don't know anything about. Hey, we're gonna take your house, put a lien on your bank account. They don't care, they're gonna take your paycheck. Optimum Tax, they helped me. Now I'm a happy camper now. If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optimum Tax a call.
For a free consultation, call 800-606-1097.
Optima Tax Relief.
President Biden's approval is still underwater less than 4 weeks out from Election Day, but the president claims the majority of Americans are happy with his record.
They're concerned about whether or not I can get anything done. Look what I've gotten done. Name me a president in recent history that's gotten as much done as I have in the first 2 years. Not a joke. You may not like what I got done, but the vast majority of the American people do like what I got done.
Let's bring in Matt Gorman, former communications director for the National Republican Congressional Committee and a vice president of Targeted Victory. Thank you very much. Matt, good to see you. Interesting piece caught our attention. So you're making the case in your piece, 3 ways Joe Biden has lost credibility with voters and what it means for the midterm elections. In it, you say Biden has forfeited a lot of goodwill by excuses and blaming others for his administration's mistakes. You even say in this piece there's a lot of good news into, but it even seems to burn its credibility with that. The point you're making, sir.
Yeah, no, there are good news every once in a while. By far, it's not very good news, as you saw with the inflation and the gas prices. But over and over again, as you talked about with Senator Barrasso and Ro Khanna, they either blame other people or they trot out these ridiculous excuses, as they did with the comments he made about Jackie Walorski just the other week. And so when you go out there and say that the sky's magenta, people tend to tune you out. And that's why he hasn't been able to actually break through when he has a case to be made.
Well, that defense you're talking about for that moment came from Karine Jean-Pierre, the White House press secretary. She is often also pressed on inflation and who's to blame for this. This is our own Edward Lawrence pressing her at the White House. Listen.
So I'm wondering if the president bears any responsibility with his policies for the inflation and what they're calling a stalling economy.
Okay, we got to step back here and look at what the president walked into here, right? When you think about the night, we've been here for about 20 months. When he walked in, businesses were closed, small businesses were closing down, schools were not open.
Interesting, Matt, because when I look at inflation up on the screen, what the president walked into, she said. Well, he walked into a point of historically low inflation, and it has since done this. So
yeah, you're right. That's simply not true. It's also not true that schools were not open. In fact, the teachers' unions and Joe Biden were the ones trying to keep schools closed. But this is another example, right? When things go marginally good, like with gas prices going down slightly or inflation going down slightly, they thump their chest. But when things go bad, as we saw again, it's Putin's fault, it's big oil's fault, it's somebody else's fault but theirs. So they lose credibility.
the use away from President Biden is the same reason Republicans are so optimistic. And you point directly to his approval rating. But we are seeing, can you make the case, more and more Democrats trying to separate themselves from this president's policies?
Well, it's a lot easier said than done. Again, the number you look at, as I said, is the president's approval rating. Historically, the members of his own party running in midterms, when they're running on the ballot, unless you're Joe Manchin, unless you're Susan Collins, you're not outrunning the president. And Collins, you're not outrunning the president of your own party by 7 or 8 points. It's just not done. And so that's why the fact he can't get it above 43, 44% should be.
Interesting piece and perspective there. Matt, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Sandra.
See you again soon. Mike.
Sandra, a story breaking moments ago involving one of the NFL's best receivers and a shove seen around the world. Details next.
Dude, you coming? Dude, you coming?
Alka-Seltzer Plus with more concentrated power, because the only thing dripping should be your style. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, Winter Warriors with Alka-Seltzer Plus.
I'm Jonathan Lawson, here to tell you about life insurance through the Colonial Penn Program. Through the Colonial Penn Program. If you're age 50 to 85 and looking to buy life insurance on a fixed budget,
what are the 3 Ps?
The 3 Ps of life insurance on a fixed budget are price, price, and price. A price you can afford, a price that can't increase, and a price that fits your budget.
What's my price?
You can get coverage for $9.95 a month.
I'm 65 and take medications. What's my price?
Also $9.95 a month.
I just turned 80. What's my price?
$9.95 a month for you to 85. Call now about the #1 most popular whole life insurance plan available through the Colonial Penn Program. It has an affordable rate starting at $9.95 a month. No medical. Your acceptance is guaranteed. And this plan has a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, so your rate can never go up for any reason. And you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. And it's yours free, just for calling. So call now for free information.
Call 1-800-482-1800 for your free information and free gift. That's free information and free gift. That's 1-800-482-1800. 1-800-482-1800. Call now.
2 o'clock in the morning, we started crossing the first of 2 bridges, and that caught an IED right off the bat. Did a little bit of damage, but not in my head. I was thinking that got hit with